Welcome, everybody, to the Eden Army podcast. I'm your host tonight, Pete Robertucci, and we do this podcast every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. First off, we have some new merch out at PeteRobertucci.com. Go check that out. I think you're going to like the new shirts. I just have a sneaky suspicion you're going to like them. Also, with that being said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us get our word out. Speaking of subscribing, thank you, Matthew, Tom, and Opie, for your re-subscription. Whew. So it's been an interesting news week, to say the least. Israel struck Hamas leadership in Qatar. A Ukrainian refugee was murdered on a train in the U.S., and Poland shoots down drones over their airspace, all as we mark the 24th anniversary of 9/11. Also, I didn't have time to put anything together or to research this, but apparently something has gone down at the Naval Academy in Annapolis. As soon as I hear something on that, I heard there might have been an active shooter type event. I am not sure, and I'm not sure of injuries that I'm willing to say. But let's address the most significant news, and that is the assassination of Mr. Charlie Kirk. 31-year-old Charlie is a conservative commentator who set out to educate students on their own campuses. He used logic and intellect on campuses that long have been the grooming grounds for leftist ideologies. So essentially, he was behind enemy lines and still sought a peaceful debate with honest dialogue. All right. He always exercised his First Amendment right, not by burning flags and hating our country, but by bringing the truth. And that truth sometimes was a hard truth for the groomed young people to understand. But make no mistake about it, it was the truth. Charlie always put God first and tried to find the peaceful route to unindoctrinate the youth of America. That's what got him killed. Not what he was saying. That's not what got him killed. What he was saying was being heard by our children in the leftist breeding grounds, which are the universities of this country. I don't care who the gunman is. I want his ideology killed. But who's responsible for spewing that ideology? People like Gavin Newsom, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Jasmine Crockett. The list goes on and on and on and on. But they're not the only ones to blame. Let's look at CNN, MSNBC, PBS, ABC, and NBC. Mark my words, the shoe will be on the other foot someday. And like Newsom said, we have to fight fire with fire. And these same news agencies will be reporting from the other side of things. And the first thing they're going to do is blame Donald Trump, Fox News, and yes, even conservative podcast hosts. They're going to ask, how did a young person from the other side of the aisle get so radicalized? How did that happen? But I'm going to give you, listen, legacy news, scumbag news agencies, I'm going to give you the reason today. So you don't have to ask the question. That person in the future was radicalized on a field in Butler, Pennsylvania. They were radicalized during a peaceful speech on Utah's campus. They were radicalized in a Nashville Christian school. And yes, even on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina, by a criminal who was released 14 times by a leftist magistrate. And even on this day that we're supposed to be remembering 9/11, legacy media can't understand why we don't give a shit about things like the people in Gaza.
atmosphere, the V sign for victory being displayed in East Jerusalem today among jubilant Palestinians that the United States had been subject to this attack. What are we to make of that, Jennifer? Are we to, Yasser Arafat may issue this condemnation. Look at this. We're seeing people applauding, clapping, smiling, happy to know that thousands of Americans have died in this sneak attack, and there you see a V for victory sign held up to the camera. What are we to make of that, and what are we to make of what about what Yasser Arafat said today?
The United States blamed by some Palestinians for its ongoing support, as it is seen, of Israel in this.
And then they're going to ask, why do you think liberals are godless and evil people?
God bless America.
Liberals, leftists, radical leftists. You wanted us to be woke. Now we're awake. God help you.
I am tired of hearing people say, like Barack Obama did, like Hillary Clinton did, oh, we condemn this violence. Guess what? You can't call the President of the United States for 10 years Adolf Hitler. And you can't say that he's a fascist dictator. And you can't say that anyone who voted for Trump or advocated for him, like you, me, Riley, and Charlie Kirk, are Nazis. And then when someone tries to kill us, you can't suddenly say, oh, we condemn this violence. You caused it. Look at me right now. You caused this. When you tell people that someone is Hitler, you are telling crazy people, go kill them. And I am sick of pretending that that is anything other than what they're doing. That guy in West Palm Beach, what did he say? He was killing Trump because he believed Trump was Hitler. This is what they do, all right? This left-wing violence, it's out of control. And Charlie Kirk bore the brunt of that left-wing violence. And guess what? But for the twist of his head at the last minute, Donald Trump's head would have been blown off on live television. And that is intentional. They are lighting fires and then claiming, oh, what do you know? There's a fire there. They're doing it on purpose. MSNBC, Sean, you watch this. They were live on the air saying, one of their guys said, they put out a PR statement. He said, well, Charlie Kirk was riddled basically with hate. And when you put hate out into the world, this kind of thing happens. Oh, tough break. You get shot and killed even though you're completely innocent and all you're doing is making arguments for the betterment of the country. Tough break for your young daughter. Tough break for your son, for your lovely wife that will never get the opportunity to see you grow old with them. I am so angry. And I understand everybody out there says, well, we have to tamp down the anger. I'm not willing to do that right now because I get angrier the more I think about this, Sean. They put the wheels of motion for this in order. They did it, Sean.
Welcome to the show, guys. Look, I know I got it, Russ. I know a lot of people expect me to get heated about that. I know look, here's the deal. Yeah, I was mad. Okay, I was sick to my stomach, and right now, look, liberal pundits over there want to say, look, we need to take that video of Charlie down being executed. We need to take that down. Fuck you. We don't need to take it down. We need to look at it. We need to know what the left is capable of, and we need to watch it all the time. We did the same thing, guys, in 9/11. Let's take all the video down so we're not Islamophobic, right? No. Teach our children what evil does so they don't want to become that, and they'll be righteous warriors should that time come. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about that, ladies and gentlemen. But Paul, welcome. Russ, welcome to the show. You guys are...
I'm with
Okay. Got it?
Yeah, I'm with you there, Pete. You know, we went live yesterday when it happened, and it was very reminiscent from the standpoint of having to deal with stuff like that in real time. of 9/11, and the fact that it happened the day before 9/11. A lot of people will remember where they were the day that Charlie Cook was assassinated and what they were doing. And then the video you showed of and I agree with you 100%. That's why I don't like Hamas. The fact that they were cheering when they killed over almost 3,000 people on 9/11, 24 years ago.
And that was, and they say, but the women and children, the women, all of the Gaza Strip was cheering that. That wasn't just Hamas, right? Those were the populace of Gaza. Okay, so I don't remember that. I keep that in my memory, and I keep those videos because I want to be reminded when they put Islamic extremists in Congress, what those people are capable of.
Well, they already have one. You, Ilian,
I know. That's my
I'm
point.
sure you saw the thing with Ilian Omar today.
Of course, yeah. And look, you can go through X and all through the internet and find leftist responses to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Okay, I do not want to do that. Now, I have looked at a couple just for this podcast tonight, but that I don't need to do that. All right. And look here, let me say this. I didn't want to go off on this Charlie Kirk thing tonight, but I guess I am. First of all, this was not a professional hit. This was not Mossad. This was not a CIA op. This is what leftists do. That's what they've been training to. This is what I've been telling you. This is what they do. Okay? And now they're training to do it. Do not minimize who the bad people are by saying it's a Mossad operative. It's a CIA op. All right? These are professionals. They were hired hitmen. No, they're not. This is the atypical leftists. Get it through your heads. Stop with the other rhetoric and the other bullshit and the other conspiracy theories. This is the left. Period. End. Absolutely. Be ready for it. All right. I guess I'm done now.
Joe Niemeyer has joined us over on Kick. Big Joe.
Joe got in there. Thank you for the subscription, Mr. Joe.
A lot of comments over there. I'll let you pick and choose the ones that you want.
All right, let's see. I see a lot of people out there saying we are Charlie. Absolutely. I see a lot of people over there saying prove me wrong. Here's the deal, guys. You don't get assassinated for getting on a stage and telling lies. You get assassinated for getting up on a stage and telling the freaking truth. That's what scares him. And not only that, he was telling the truth to college students. Okay, so that bothered them because that was their breeding ground. So
it's like it's the message I sent you yesterday. I was having a conversation with one of my close friends, and he said the message that they're putting out there is if you disagree with us publicly, you're next. That's how it feels.
That is the very definition of terrorism. Right there. That is the very definition of terrorism. Right? An act to suppress your political opponent and to change the way the American people act. So at some point, Donald J. Trump, stop pussyfooting around and call a spade and label Antifa, label the Soros organization, label all these people indivisible, label them terrorist organizations, find their funding and rip it out and put people in jail. Okay? Good.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff out over here in the comments, guys, that a lot of it to me is pure speculation. And I'm not gonna. I won't address it unless you want to bring it up, Pete. But here's the deal, guys. To go back to your more recent Minnesota.
We'll stop. First of all, we'll stop being stupid on social media. I'm just going to say that right now. All right, stop being fucking stupid on social media for your own protection. Yeah. Don't just use your head, bro. Come on. Sorry, that's just like that's common sense.
I'm gonna help.
Yeah, Patrick, I'm with you. It is too much nonsense conspiracy, and what it does, Patrick, what it does is it minimizes who the real enemy. It takes our eye off the ball. No, this little twink can't. He couldn't possibly make a 200-yard shot. I make a 200-yard shot with my eyes practically closed. Stop. Okay, stop. This was not a professional hit. This was an atypical leftist who's been he's been groomed, and there's more information to come out on him. I'm not going to do it because that's not on mainstream media now, but there will be more information coming out on the shooter.
Oh, absolutely. You know, but we are becoming a target. You know, they hit the school, the Minneapolis church where the children were up there praying. There was a school shooting yesterday, and at the same time as Charlie Kirk was assassinated. You know, Charlie Kirk was there. And I've watched a lot of his episodes, and I really liked his discourse. And he was always very polite with the folks. And I mean, he argued facts, you know, over opinions and over what left stream media bias, you know, and he had, and you're absolutely right. He was taking away their voter base because he transformed a lot of people into Republicans. And I'll tell you another thing that I've seen based off stuff I've seen on social media today. He just grabbed a whole lot more that were on the fence over to the Republican, the conservative side, because killing a human being, number one, is bad. And, you know, we're talking 10 Commandments bad. But from a standpoint where his wife and 2 young children were there in the audience, and those 2 young children got to watch their father die, there's a special place in hell for people like that. And I'd love to be, all right, I'm going to.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and the problem is they failed because what they've done by trying to silence him, he will live on forever. President Trump said he will give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's forever. Charlie Kirk will forever be known as a recipient of the Medal of Freedom. You silence nobody. You silence nobody. You know, for lack of a better terms, you've martyred the man. You've made him live forever. So, and remember, they don't silence people for lying. They don't kill people for lying. What they do is they kill people when they're telling the truth, and they don't like the truth. So that is a well, maybe we'll dive into some more of that here in a little bit. So, but anyway, that's I reacted a little bit yesterday. I wasn't emotional. I wanted to try to get all the facts. I screwed up some of the facts, so I actually went back and deleted those videos. I wasn't being banned from anybody. I didn't do my due diligence, which is always what I want to try to do. So that was 100% on me. I went back and took care of my own mistake there. And a lot of my friends who are in law enforcement and stuff like that were blowing up my phone. They go, no, it's not. You need to not do that. Don't do that. Wrong guy, wrong this, wrong that. Just wait. I'll give you all the information. Just wait. And there is still a lot of information that is yet to come that is out in people's hands. So just hang tight. We're going to get all the answers we need. It doesn't matter what answers we get, though. There's always going to be some conspiracy nut job that will think the Israelis did it, or the Russians did it, or the Iranians did it. No, that's just a leftist. That's just a leftist. That's all. Is. So anyway, but that's not the only news, guys, that's going on. Apparently, Russia is testing NATO's resolve. I would say, yeah, good. Testing their resolve by sending drones into a NATO country, which was Poland. Apparently, there were no casualties when that happened, and Poland shot down some of those drones. But we have a video for that. We'll pop that off.
Ukraine's Air Force says Russia has carried out yet another aerial barrage across the country overnight, launching more than 60 drones. Now, this comes a day after NATO allies scrambled warplanes, you remember, to shoot down Russian drones that entered Poland's airspace. The UN Security Council will convene an emergency meeting to discuss the escalation, according to the Polish Foreign Ministry. For more on this, we're joined now by CBS News foreign correspondent Remy Inocencio, who's tracking it all from London. Good morning, Remy. What more are we learning about the incident and NATO's response?
Errol, yeah, good to see you. NATO spokesman Colonel Martin O'Donnell told CBS News that the past 24 hours have shown that NATO is, quote, incredibly strong and has the ability to defend itself. We know now that Poland is enacting a limited no-fly zone in the east. Its foreign minister is also calling for more U.S. Patriot missile systems, along with what he says is an anti-drone wall. But there is criticism also following NATO's response that it actually could have been much better. I spoke with American war strategist Phillips O'Brien here in the UK.
It's overwhelmingly failure. I mean, first.
Pausing this, Patrick, I agree with you. Patrick goes on to say real quick as I pause that, I do 100% believe that that is a true statement, but that's not going to stop the war drums from beating.
First of all, this was a small attack by Russia. The Ukrainians are suffering attacks by 400, 500, 600 Russian systems a day, often shooting down 80, 90% of what the Russians are sending. And NATO only shot down 3. By Ukrainian standards, that would be a terrible performance.
And you talked about that UN Security Council emergency meeting coming up. That could happen as soon as tomorrow.
And where do things go from here, Amy?
Yeah, more talks. NATO, we know, invoked Article 4. That means that ambassador-level representatives are talking over whether Poland's territory or its security was threatened. Now, importantly, Errol, Article 4 is the step before Article 5, and that considers an attack on one member, an attack on all members. But O'Brien told me that NATO will not go there for fear of engaging Russia, specifically without U.S. backing.
Why there's so much.
If Poland invoked Article 5, then NATO states would have to say, are they going to fight for Poland? And that would be deploying more of their systems to Poland to protect Polish airspace and potentially shoot down Russian drones in large numbers.
What is the benefit for the Kremlin to pull in Poland, to pull in NATO?
Well, what it shows that actually NATO doesn't exist. What the Russians have shown is that the United States is not going to back NATO. It's showing that it can get its equipment over NATO airspace, and NATO.
Well, you can say whatever you like, my friend. I'm just telling you as a friend that's something stupid to say on social media. You can say whatever you like, but you have to use intellect before emotion. Carry on.
And handle it.
So not so much a test of strength, but a test of its weakness.
Yes.
There you go. So an incursion into Poland, which I agree with Patrick, was more than likely an errant bunch of drones that went over. That was a massive drone attack they sent into Ukraine. Did 4 or 5 of them go into Polish airspace? Probably. But that is the problem, right? That's the problem when you have NATO nations so close to non-NATO nations, especially disputed nations that Russia thinks it has a right to. This is why NATO promised Putin they would never encroach on their borders. This is why. Anything on that, gentlemen?
No, I agree.
I think, I think Patrick was right. I think they may have went rogue, and I caught him. I was doing something else, and I caught a little bit of the soundbite and said, the EU is only doing Article 4 because they don't want to do anything without the U.S. because they are afraid to do anything without the U.S. They want the U.S. because the U.S. has all the money. They won't do it on their own.
100%. Captain Sexy says, in regards to NATO and Russia, nothing's going to happen outside of these dumb skirmishes. It's white noise to keep out the real issues. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot argue with that. Go.
Pete, real quick, I'm going to give a shout out to a military brother of mine that has joined us tonight. I'll pop it up here on the screen. Intel Jumper is a military buddy of mine. We hadn't talked in well over 25 years, and we started talking yesterday and today. He has a new book coming out, and we should be getting him on the podcast at some point in time in the future. Pete, this is who I talked to you about earlier today. But AJ, welcome.
Welcome, Intel Jumper. We're honored to have you here. Thank you for your service, young man. unless you're Russ's age, then just be happy you're still upright. I guess I don't know.
He's younger than I am. He's closer to your age, I think.
I think very well. So you're still a young man. Yeah, he hit the follow button. He's good to go.
He's still an old man.
Thanks for looking out. 53. You are my age. I don't know what you're doing hanging out with this old guy. Then hell, I don't know what I'm doing hanging out with this old guy. To be honest with you.
You are enjoying bourbon and smoking cigars.
You're all old men to me. So
listen, I could mute you so quick right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But you gave him admin access; he can unmute himself.
I unmuted Russ.
That's true.
What's up, Pete? You do need to find Doug a little.
I had planned on taking a dig at Russ's age later on anyway, but you took that from me.
Perfect.
He's like, he's up there. Scratch that note.
Great.
All right, guys. Did we talk about? I don't have a video for this particular one, but did we talk about Israel? I know it kind of got washed away in the news a little bit, but Israel hit into Qatar at the leadership of Hamas. According to intelligence, they launched 15 fighter jets, and they went untouched all the way, refueling probably there and back. More than likely, it's a bit of a stretch, and delivered precision munitions on Hamas leaders that were hiding in Qatar while Qatar was trying to negotiate a peace deal. Here's the issue with that. Trying to negotiate a peace deal doesn't mean anything. Iran tried to negotiate a deal, but what they did was strung it along forever and ever and ever on their nuclear enrichment program. So Donald Trump gave them 60 days. On day 61, he bombed the living shit out of them. Okay? If you want the war in the Middle East to stop, it's only two conditions. Hamas must surrender and lay down their arms, and they must give up all the hostages immediately. That war ends. Period. End.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's not an occupation. It's not that that Israel decided on October 8th and 9th they were just going to arbitrarily go into the Gaza Strip for no good reason. No, not the way it worked. You don't have to like that truth, guys. You don't have to believe it. But Israel didn't go in on October 6th. No. They went in when they were provoked. Most incursions into that shithole are because they were provoked. And I'm not talking about provoked like they are every day, harassed by mortar fire and stuff like that. We know what happened on October 7th. Now, you can try to erase the history there. You can try to say that never had happened. You can be a conspiracist and say, oh, those are all AI. Those babies in the ovens were all AI-generated stuff. No, they weren't. They weren't. I have friends over there, all right? And they sent me pictures. They're not AI people, okay? So, I don't know what to tell you. You don't have to believe it. I get it. I wouldn't believe an older guy that writes books either, but you're watching. So, yeah.
Hey, truth is stranger than fiction sometimes, though, bro.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot has come, several things have come out on that. The UK had intelligence birds flying up and around Qatar right before, during, and after the strike. The strike was extremely precise. Six or seven were the only ones killed. No report of any civilian casualties. The U.S. obviously supposedly made a call to Qatar saying, hey, oh, by the way, Israel's bombing this at the interim. Russ's tinfoil hat, which he doesn't put on a lot, is too... Number one, I don't know that Israel would have done it unilaterally because Qatar is an ally to the U.S. as well. And the reason they didn't tell Qatar is because there's a leak in the freaking system somewhere and they didn't want them to know. That's Russ's tinfoil hat for the day.
Yeah, I mean, they could have told any Arab nation for that matter, and sooner or later some fundamentalists would have got the word out somehow, some way, some shape. So Netanyahu came out right after the attacks and say, we did this unilaterally. There are no other nations involved. Like Captain Sexy back there says, who knows what really happened behind the scenes.
Exactly.
But regardless, here's the deal. Don't harbor terrorists. That's the moral of the story. We took down the entire Taliban, well, until we gave it back to them. We took down, we gave the nation back to them. We took down the Taliban for one reason. They were harboring bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. Okay. We had no problem with the Taliban before that. And as a matter of fact, they were going to give up bin Laden just prior to our invasion, but something happened. Okay. So there you go. That's don't harbor terrorists. Very, very, that solves everything. Will, you're right. Qatar is an ally of ours, so there's no doubt about that. They're an important asset in the region. They're a needed asset. But there are fundamentalists inside of that regime that have a little sensitive spot for the Palestinian people. You got something to say, Paul?
No, you're good.
No, but just about any military member that is deployed over to the Middle East, whether going into Iraq or into Afghanistan, has gone through Qatar. You know, unless you're on a ship and then you stop outside. But, you know, you stop. You stop, then you get on, like for me, last trip over into Iraq, we stopped in Qatar, loaded up on a C-130, went into Iraq.
Agreed.
And
They're an asset.
They are.
Guys, here's what we're going to do. And I apologize to the people over there. I know we have one more thing I want to talk about. Our topic tonight wasn't supposed to be about Charlie Kirk. It was supposed to be about current events, which ended up being about Charlie Kirk. But I wanted to break down the level of awareness schedule for you guys. And I want to base that on what had happened in Charlotte. Okay. And I'm not, but first let's take a break. Russ, I don't have an intermission screen. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put that saying I had up there. Let's take about a 2-minute break. Let's get rid of the communist platforms, and then we will remain on Kick. How's that sound, brother?
If you want to do it that way, pop that screen up. I'm going to do a shameless plug on my promo, and then we'll be back after that.
Okay.
In a fractured America under martial law, retired Air Force veteran Cole Ramsey faces a storm of betrayal and chaos at Pete's place.